Okay, we are back. I think I've worked out what my problem was with Twitch. It looks like I was streaming at way too high of a bit rate. Apparently, if it goes over a certain, yeah. So there I am again. I'm now live. Yeah. So if you go over too high of a bit rate on Twitch, it will just cut you off. It'll just be like, sorry, not going to show you anything. So I think we've got some buffering still happening, but that's probably because I'm trying to watch it and upload at the same time, and my wife's in the other room streaming her game. So we may have to close. I might have to close this window. Let me just see. I got to do some settings. Yeah, and if you're watching this YouTube being completely confused, I'm just trying to get the stream working on both platforms. That's all I'm trying to do. Looks like I need to change some settings real quick. Say it's pretty stable. We've got 30 frames on Twitch, and then we're doing like a lot of buffering. That's frustrating. Let's see how we go anyway. Let's see how we go. We've got... Yeah, the bitrate seems fine. It should be okay. I wonder why it just keeps stalling. I guess the best I could probably do is just keep an eye on it. It might be stalling because I'm just using a lot of download. Maybe if I close it altogether and just ignore it. Just pretend nothing's nothing's happening. Interesting. I don't know. I'll just wait. If there's problems, you just let me know in chat, okay? Let's move on. Yeah, if it looks like we're having issues, just let me know if the stream's all jittery or crap. It might be it might just be the case that I can't stream to both at the same time. I did it the other day on my PC and it seemed to work fine, but I had an extension on OBS to do that. At the moment, I've just got this app that's doing both at the same time, and it actually streams like it has two connections, whereas something like Restream will just have one. But Restream's too expensive in my country at the moment, which is really weird. I'm used to people in non-first world countries saying that sort of stuff, but yeah, the Australian dollar is like 2/3 of the US, so everything is more expensive. It's crazy. It's ridiculous how expensive things are at the moment, especially food and groceries and stuff. So I've got my two chats open. I hope we get a good stream today. Just give me 1 second. Just go look over a couple of things real quick, and then we'll just get back into writing some code. Yeah, I'm getting unstable and buffering. That is not good. I'm gonna close this off and then try a different bit rate. Twitch is still going crazy. It's still trying to pull as much. Let me disconnect and reconnect to see what we got. Yes, it's dropped down now. Okay, let's see how that goes. Apparently the OBS, like when you cap stuff in OBS, it doesn't seem to put a hard limit on things. I think it just comes down to the fact that my wife's streaming as well. Probably can't have multiple Twitch streams from the same house. Seems like that's probably the problem. Because I'm sitting at 5700 kbps on an upload at 27 fps, and it's just continually lagging behind. Oh gosh. I don't know. Could just be me. Everything is probably fine. Let's close that off. And let's just keep going. Okay, so just before we ended previously, we had this ambience player. And funnily enough, the sound is still playing and it's not stopping like it should be. So on disappear, we want to set that to false, which we're doing. And then we say if it is playing, we stop all. And running stop all loops through everything in the list of players. Oh, we're doing the wrong one. We're doing the wrong one, are we? No. How do we do this? Stop all. Stop. We call stop. Let's move this down. Let's move this out of the way a little bit more. And then we've got, yeah, stop all. We loop through. We go file name. We check for all the players with that file name. We don't really need to stop individual items at the moment, do we? We want to stop everything. And I think things are getting lost because the file names play loop. If we add a new, yeah. I think the best thing to do to move forward with this is instead of so we got these fades. I think it might be best if we readjust this for the player. Right. I think this will make more sense. So if I say something like for player in players dot values, and then we pass through the player, and then we can get rid of this file name stuff, and then we just got access to these players, right? And then we can just say player set volume 0 fade duration, and then after that we stop, and then we can say I guess we really don't need to remove them because they'll get deinitialized anyway when it closes out, so let's not do that. When we hit play, we want to play based on the loops that are set. Yeah, I think we do want to set them to nil, right? Player. Let's see if we can find. Do we get access to the URL? Yeah, we do. Okay, so cool. So let's just go players dot URL equals nil. Or I think we can go players dot remove value for key player dot URL, and we'll just have, and it'll just do nothing if there's nothing in there. Oh, we got to change this to file name, which is the last path component, I believe. Yeah. And we need to go self. Yes. Where's this ambience player? We've got ambience player up here. So this is global. Yeah, so it's not going to... So that was the problem from before, I think, because this is a global player. We need to also consider the fact that other screens are going to pop open and then add to this set of loops. And so I think the problem we're having is when we say stop all, there's no reset happening. So like when the screen disappears, we say we stop playing them all, and then that's it. But what we should really be doing is removing them, or not removing them. Anytime there's a new selection made on the encounter, we should really be resetting what's the content in this. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, what can I do to fix that? Oh gosh. This is a little bit tricky. Because I want to update this based on like this, not the selected, but the playing. Oh, that's another thing, isn't it? This is a nightmare. Okay, so campaign details view. We've got our campaign. Play status panel. Great. We've got a Apple Music API. Is playing encounter. So this is for that. Probably need to set oh no, what do we do? I think we need a separate player for this screen for the previews. I think that's the problem we're having right now. Because at the moment we're using this as an environment variable, and if we just want to pop open the screen to demo some sounds, we're probably going to need a separate class for that. Because this is global. This should be a global one. So I think it's important. We need to figure out a way to listen to changes. What do we do? I feel like I need to re-architect some of this. Give me a sec. Yeah, okay. So because this ambience player is like a global thing, it's causing conflicts anytime I want to do like like just a preview. And for that reason, like, let's say as someone taps play on this one, and we've got some music playing, we have the ambience playing, like rain sounds or something, and then the user's like, okay, while that's playing, I want to open up this, and make some changes. And then when they hit play on this, we need to detect. What I'm saying is at the moment this is shared across the whole app, right? And I'm using it to preview, and then I'm also using it to play when you know a game is in session. So it's being used for both the editing of a of the ambience and during a play session. So they conflict with each other, don't they? So I need a separate player for just previewing, and then I need to decide whether if the global ambient sounds are playing and someone comes in here and starts previewing stuff, is it okay for them to preview them while something else is playing? And I'm going to say no. I think this should be grayed out if something is already happening down here. And I guess in order to do that, I kind of need to get access to, so like for example, the encounter manager, this just tracks which one is tapped here, but it's not tracking which one is playing. And I wonder if that's what I should be doing, because at the moment the only thing that's tracking what's playing is this Apple Music API. But I also need to get this information. Oh man. The thing with SwiftUI is it's kind of tricky to get these environment items to talk to each other. So what I'd love to be able to do is have this one as the source of truth for like, so maybe this is the one that's selected in the hierarchy, right? Like the purple highlighting. And then I create another one, which is like the one that's playing in order for the Apple Music API to reference, to keep check on. But how do you pass environment variable into another environment variable? How do you get access to that? I know like we can use things like notifications. We can subscribe to those, and so like when it changes, those APIs can be like. I almost feel like that might be the right way to go. Just that way, it keeps it like the block of code is separate, so I don't have to hold a reference to this or keep plugging in the encounter when it changes. It'll just get notification when it changes, and then there's no sort of like coupling there. So that might be the way to go. So I've already got the initializer set up. I'm doing notifications on like the playback state, right, of the music player. So maybe I just put a notification in here for when this changes. Because what am I doing at the moment, right? So update current track. Yeah. So when it comes through, when it updates, I can just set that. I can make this private. I don't think changes on this matter. I'm just going to comment it out, build, and then see where we get some errors so that we can find where it's being used, right? It's all being used internally by the looks of it. Doesn't make sense. So where is it getting, wait, where's it getting set? Play. Oh, so when I call play, so it's not getting, so this could be marked as private. Why is it published? I don't know. Let's undo that. Let's set this to private and see if we get any other errors. Scene row, yeah, we do. Okay, so Xcode just wasn't throwing these before. Yeah, so when you hit the play button on this, it hits up the environment variable for the music API. It sets the encounter. It does a check, like if it's already playing or whatever, it pauses. If it's you know, if it's not, or if it's the same one, it does nothing, or whatever it is, it does, you know, that sort of, those sort of checks are put in place. I just wonder, I think this can be achieved, it feels like this can be achieved with using the encounter manager, and then when I set it, I just post the notification saying it's been updated. Like, it feels like that's the correct way of doing it, unless, so we're doing a check here. So instead of checking this, I'd be checking encounter manager is playing .id is equal to encounter.id, the one that's part of this row. If it's the same one that's playing, basically we say pause. Yeah, we say play. We say we can even set up so we don't need to change this in here. So when we post a notification, this external display content can listen for those notifications too, and then it can update itself based on that. That means we'll probably set this up to be a singleton. Because these classes don't have access to environment variables. Let me just check. Let's see if that's a thing that's possible. Hold up, microphone's falling a bit. Had to move it out of the way and then it just tipped over. Okay, so we've got, so I'm just going to do a quick Google search, SwiftUI environment object versus singleton. Actually, that was a pre-fill option. Let's take a look. The entire views access the same model in an app. I think the singleton pattern is enough, right? And then they go through and they, yeah. Only problem is that you made available for every type function in your application, but does an environment variable object also make available type of function? The only difference is you have spread throughout your code instead of yes. You're correct. There's no reason in this case to use environment object. Apple even encourages to make no excessive use of environment objects. Great. Nevertheless, environment object can be great too if you use an object in many views, because then you don't have to pass it from view A to B, C, and so on. I often find myself in a situation where even state and binding will be enough to share and update data in a view and in between two views. Yeah, so I've used that before as well. I think when your app supports multiple windows via scene, example document apps, maybe the singleton is not a solution and the environment object is better. Example, you want to share selected color when you use a singleton. The selected color will be the same in entire app, in every scene, every window, in view and window. But if you want to use separate settings, environment object is convenient. Yeah, let's go with a singleton. Let's go with a singleton. Oh yeah. Is that correct? Yeah. And we can still use publishers. I'm pretty sure we can still use the publishers on these. Because as soon as the view gets a reference to this, it probably does some magic behind. Yeah, I think we can still do that. So we'll have the selected one here. And we'll have the, what do we call this? Like the playing, or the music one, the playing. So this one's going to be different, right? So the idea is that like you'll have one that you tap play on, and that will be this one. And then whatever's selected, and sometimes they can both be the same. And then whichever one's selected, that'll be this one. And so that way you can play, and all the playing logic works for the one that's in that position. And then you can still go, while it's playing, you can still go into here and like make other changes and stuff. And I think if the one that's playing is different to the one that's selected, this will be grayed out, so you can't select play them over the top of each other. I'm thinking that might be the best way to go. It's kind of annoying. The tricky thing with like SwiftUI at the moment is, yeah, doing all these really kind of weird state change. Like the UI, if the UI is sort of complex and being in lots of different states at the same time, it's kind of like gets unwieldy, and you kind of need to go back to doing things sort of like the old way or whatever. Let's try going with this, I guess. I'm gonna go for a build, and then wherever, because I've already set this as private on the API. So what I want to do is I want to look at encounter manager shared, and then go playing, and then we can go ID, right? Which is the same as that. Let's get rid of this so you can see what's going on. And then the current encounter ID for this row, Apple Music current preview equals nil. So current preview yeah, I feel like I've already like sort of solved a lot of this early on with the music, because there was a situation where like you'd hit play, like this one would be playing. It doesn't work in the sim, by the way. And then you switch to another one, you go edit, and then maybe you want to add some other tracks and preview them. And I think I had a lot of logic in here to handle that. Like if it's already going, you don't really want to be able to like preview something while another one's playing. I think what happens is it just switches over to this one being the one that's playing. I'm gonna have to mess with the logic again. This is frustrating. It's like I have this big list of things I want to finish off and like polish the app, and then it's like, oh, hang on a sec, you've done this slightly wrong, and then it cascades, right? There's a big avalanche of other things that need to be fixed, which is just not great. So if the current preview is nil here, this is logic that's probably needs to go. In here we've got the check on the currently playing encounter. It's another one, and this is just so we can know what image to show, right? So this thumbnail would be like album artwork, I think. No, it's the artwork that we set here at the top. Yeah, that makes more sense. And then again, we do the same thing here. I wonder if I can shorten this up, because it's a little bit. Yeah, and if it's playing, this implies that there's music playing. We should say, oh, what do we call this thing? Because it's we can call it player encounter, I guess, but that's just like, it's too long. We'll just keep playing. I know what it is. And we'll use this to determine whether it's actually playing the music from it or not, okay? We might need another class to manage this as well, because now we've got ambient sounds. And so the idea of having this just on the music and then having one on ambient sounds player is a little bit weird, I think. We can manage them both at the same time though. We just got to remember to do that. So like anywhere that we say play the music, we also have to say play the ambience to go with it. Up here we will have we'll manage them separately. Only because what I want to do is, like, if you hit play here, I want the ambience to start playing at the same time. But maybe there's like a button here where we can pause it and say, okay, we don't want any environmental sounds. We just want the music. I I think that would be a nice option to have, but always force it to play when you hit this. So they're all. I don't know. We can maybe a toggle, maybe a little switch, toggle it on and off. Yeah, it's getting complex now. It's one of those things where it's kind of like, oh, do I just want to redo it? It's because it's getting slower to work on it as time goes on because of all the little intricate details of it. Yeah, it kind of feels like I want to rewrite, but I don't know. We'll keep going. We'll see where we're at, and maybe I'll pull out some ideas. If it does get to the point where we need to rewrite, I've got something to go on at least. So doing my best here. All right. Yeah, so we need to do one thing at a time instead of continually getting distracted. I'll leave that there. I don't know why I commented that out, but I won't delete it just in case. Okay, so if I do another build, we should get an error, and we'll just find where these are and fix them. And so this is setting, yeah, so what we want to do is encounter manager shared plain equals nil. We remove that from there. And I think, yeah, if we build, yeah, let's go back to the, not the encounter manager, let's go back to the music API stuff. And we'll have a look in. So here we've got that encounter that made private, which was causing all those problems. If I delete this completely, now we get some new errors. And what I can do is change this to where we've got that singleton. And replace these. And should I test this? I have to test on a device, and I don't really have anything hooked up to do that right now. I've got my phone, I'm using that for the camera. I've got my iPad here, but I've run out of ports on my Mac. No, we'll see. Oh yeah, and so when you hit the play button, it passes through the encounter, and this is where we would need to set it. That's good. I think we do the same here. Yes. So this is when we want to play a specific track, and I think this is for previewing. Yeah, and this makes sense. And so like, yeah, I think I've got it set up so that like if I hit play on this scene, and then I'm like, oh, while that's going, I'm going to come up here and just play with the music and preview them. You can see that it changes to the one that's selected now at the top there. And I think that's okay. Okay, so if we've got that and everything's been set to a, what do we got here? A singleton. We need to make some changes here too. Okay, so I've got an encounter somewhere here. Here it is. It's kind of annoying that like Swift can't just, you know, locate where that issue is. So there goes one. There must be another one in here somewhere. Where is it? Here, thumbnail. Is that it? I think that might be it. Let's just wait and see. I'm just building at the moment. You see the top of the screen there. Whew. All right. Yes. Okay, what's going on? We've got another one, which is here. What is this? Delete encounters. What does this do? Encounter list. Oh, yes. If you... Oh, hold up. Yeah, so when you swipe to delete, if one is playing at the time, we need to stop it from playing. So we've got some code here to do that. Cool. Okay, so we got that working. Anywhere I've got this encounter manager thing, I want to delete these environments because I don't want to pass those through anymore. I want to access them directly, right? So in this case, we've got accidentally copied encounter.shared, and we've got this selected. So we can go through and replace all these. We're going to use these singletons as well, and these are publishers and I think that'll work. I think they'll come through. So like this property is a publisher. It's published. And so when that changes, I'm confident that we'll get like the layout to change as well. Hopefully. We can test that. So this is on the encounter list. So if I just click a different one, it should change. Oh, it doesn't want to though, does it? What do we got? What have I done? Ooh. Selected equals encounter. It doesn't seem like it wants to do it. So does the published property not work? Oh no. So the reason why I made a singleton was so that I can access it from other model objects, right? Like environment variables all well and good, but only when it's like in the view. I want to be able to access it from outside of views as well. And I don't want to have to pass them through. It'd be nice if environment variables extended to the models as well. I don't think they do. How do I share information between them? I've got one idea, but I think it's a bad one. Can we do both? So like if I go back and just do both. Hold on, let's just build this again, just double check, make sure I'm not. So selecting that works. Delete, close. Can't select any. Does anything happen when we do a selection here? Button. It is getting called, and we're doing and it is changing it, but the background's not updating because the publisher of this isn't getting published, is it? Let me just I'll just Google this and just double check and make sure that that is the case. That's true. We go SwiftUI singleton with published. Let's have a look. It's the right way to go. I want to create a global variable for showing a loading view. I tried lots of different ways, but couldn't figure out how to. I need to be able to access the variable across the entire application and update the mother view file when I change the boolean for the singleton. Right, so he's got. I've tried the below singleton, but it does not let me update the shared instance. Make a singleton observable object with published properties. Yes, publish is loading. And then, oh, okay. So it still needs to be a state object. Or an environment. Well, since since it's a singleton, we don't need to be an environment variable anymore. And I think that cleans things up a bit. Because I really don't like using them. They feel messy to me. But I think I'm more comfortable with a state object. Okay, yeah. See, this is what I was trying to do. Is there any way to bypass needing to use state object and observed object? I wanted to have that removed and then just reference it immediately by doing the whole shared thing. Not really. I mean, you could try to make a combined version all with publishers, but it seems like an uphill battle. You'll end up having to add a ton of boilerplate code to every view. State object and observed object property wrappers that help tell SwiftUI to update the view when something changes. Yeah, so you need those. So the published on its own doesn't work. You need somewhere to consume it, right? You need a property that is listening to those changes. So published will just be like, hey, I've changed this. It'll just say, hey, I've changed every single time you update the value in there. But unless you've got, like, it won't listen to it. It won't, so list row background color will not change if you just throw that in there. Like, it's publishing the changes to selected, but this here isn't going to listen to them unless we throw it up here as a observed object and reference this shared item. Yeah. But that's okay, because then I still get the best of both, right? Okay, let's go back. Let's see if there's any other answers that are good. How to use environment object in the context of something. Hard to say what's wrong with that seeing a minimal reproduce, for example, blah, blah, blah. First make a loading single. I'm going to log in because that's blinding me. Oh, you know what? I get so many every day I log into Stack Overflow. I always got like points on this one question or this one answer. Anyway, so yeah, we jump back to this, and we've got. I think this is okay. I think we can do this. Loading single using the other hook up with SwiftUI via environment object. No, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's just do that. I'll throw up. I'll put the. I'll make it a observed object because I'm okay with it being recreated, I guess. Can I change this to? Will it work if I go encounter manager shared? Oh, excuse me. No, this will not work. So we have to do it this way. Yeah, I was thinking. I was thinking I could get away with just like putting the whole thing, you know, selected. But that's just going to be whatever values. Yeah, that's not going to be the correct. It's not the way to do it, I don't think. We can test it out, I suppose. And here, this is what we need down here for the background. So let's run this and see how we go. Yeah, that's working. Let me see if this works too. Yeah, it can't be optional. That's okay. This works well. So we got that going. I think I'll update this to down here. So we just grab this and replace that there, just so it's more consistent. And I think we've got this encounter manager shared playing. what we can do is just change this to encounter manager playing, and then encounter manager playing. So it's going to be a little bit annoying going through and changing these and like updating this stuff, but I think it's the right way to go. And just dump the environment object version I had. Now, for anyone joining now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I need access to this object from other model objects, right? So this would have been fine if I was just doing changes and updating it in the UI, but I'm not doing that. I need to make changes to it on, so like when the selected encounter changes, I need to make changes. I need to be able to stop and start the music from playing. Now I know I can handle that in the UI because they're going to change in the UI anyway, I guess, by the user tapping on things. But then I'll have to put the if else and all that sort of logic inside the view. I don't know. Maybe this isn't the right way to do it. Don't know what to do here. Maybe if I just go through it again one step at a time, what it is I'm trying to achieve. So this all stems from me trying to build this ambience picker view, right? And the idea behind this is so that when, let's go to one that works. It's not going to work because I've made some changes. Let's go back to which one? This one. What have I done now? Oh no, I've broken it. Where are we at? Oh, it's back. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so the idea was that like there's going to be a conflict, right, between whatever's playing with environmental sounds going, the ambience, and then if a user decides to pop this open and go, okay, I want to make some changes in here without disturbing what's already playing. And so when the user taps on an item like a row and says, oh, this is selected, it's broken now, but we'll fix it in a sec. We want it to update the ambience on the selected scene, not the one that's playing. And using this, I can know what's playing. Maybe I didn't need to go through all this work changing this. I think I got an idea. I think we can do away with this altogether, actually. Apple Music API. Prepare to play. We have our encounter here, but we set the encounter shared playing. Why do we need this again though? Why do we need this? So we use it for in this sort of situation here, where we read its contents. I think I'm going to mess around with trying to remove these references and just have it passed in, because it's passed here, it's passed there. I don't think, like, we don't use it anywhere else. It's not used externally. I think we're going to go with that. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, I think, and maybe do some of this off stream, just because explaining it is slowing me down a little bit. I think what I want to do is just go through and fix all this up and then get to the more interesting stuff, because at the moment it's just going to be boring for you to watch me refactor this, and that's essentially what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove setting what's playing. What I want to do, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put these as environment variables across the whole app. The object that's playing and the one that's selected in the in this view. So this back as far as this will have like the global player. Maybe have we got any of these other things? Because we do have the external screen we need to worry about. Let's see if I can. External display content, right? And this is an environment object as well, which means we can set this. So when the play button is tapped, we set this as well as the environment variable for the Apple Music API. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I think this is going to work. So I'm just going to jump off. I'm going to go through and